Hello, this is Dave Sugarbaker, and today is December 1st. It's the first Sunday of Advent. Advent being the 4 Sundays prior to the 25th of December, Christmas. So this is the first Sunday getting ready for Christmas. I have a brief reading from Isaiah. This is from the 11th chapter of Isaiah. A shoot shall come out from the stump of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. The Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and the fear of the Lord. The wolf shall live with the lamb, the leopard shall lie down with the kid, the calf and the lion and the fatling together, and a little child shall lead them. The cow and the bear shall graze, their young shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox. The nursing child shall play over the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put its hand on the adder's den. They will not hurt or destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth will be full of the knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. Advent is about preparing for the astounding revelation that God arrived in human history in the form of a baby and lived with us. This is Emmanuel, which means God is with us. We assign names and themes to the 4 Sundays of Advent. There are all kinds of strategies. I just happen to have chosen 4 facets of what I think is important to our Christmas celebration, and I assign them to the 4 Sundays of Advent. The 4 aspects of Christmas that I've singled out are hope, peace, love, and joy. At the time of Jesus, Jews had been anticipating the coming of a Messiah for 1,000 years, ever since the death of Solomon's son and the breakup of the united kingdom of Israel into a northern and southern separate kingdoms. The Jews hoped for a Messiah who would reestablish the Davidic monarchy, and that is reunite all of the tribes of Israel. For the Jews, it would be a return to the good old days when David and Solomon presided over a united kingdom of all the tribes of Israel. There were no outside forces such as the Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Persians, the Egyptians, the Greeks, the Romans. No outside forces would push Israel around. It was going to be a great time. It was going to be an ideal time, actually. No one would hurt anybody else. The lion would lie down with the lamb, and a little child would lead them. Isaiah says, "They will not hurt or destroy on all my holy mountain, for the earth will be full of the knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea." And elsewhere, Elijah says, "You shall go out in joy and be led forth in peace. The mountains and the hills before you shall break forth into singing, and all the trees of the field shall clap their hands." So these were ideal pictures of what it would be like when the Messiah had come. Evil and evil people would be dealt with and removed from the scene. There'd be a final battle between good and evil, and good would win. It was going to be great. It was an ideal that they looked forward to. It was a hope that was nourishing and emotionally sustaining for them. For me, hope has been a conscious choice. It didn't come easy. I needed to practice looking at life hopefully and repeatedly, because you can't change a habit by just making a decision once. You have to make a decision 100 times a day for months on end until it becomes part of your life pattern. That was true for me. Emily Dickinson writes, "Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all." There's a fable about a wise man who was interacting with his detractors, and one of his critics had crafted a trap to prove that the wise man was a fraud. He captured a small bird, which he concealed in his hand, and he confronted the wise man, saying, "I have a bird in my hand. Is it alive or is it dead?" And he planned to wait for the wise man to make a prediction, and if the wise man said the bird was alive, a small squeeze would kill it. And if the wise man said that the bird was dead, he would open his hand and the bird would fly away. The detractor with the bird presented his trap to the wise man. "Is the bird alive or is it dead?" And the wise man simply said, "The answer is in your hand." Hope is a thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tunes without the words and never stops at all. I have some statements to share with you that may cause you to go off in your own direction, spinning on what hope means. Last week, the minister of the American Cathedral in Paris was interviewed about the restoration of Notre Dame. And this is what he said: "The bells of Notre Dame, which we haven't heard since the fire in 2019, are the sound of hope." Desmond Tutu said, "Hope is being able to see that there is light despite all the darkness." Martin Luther King Jr., "We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope." The Apostle Paul, "Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." G.K. Chesterton, "Christmas is built upon a beautiful and intentional paradox, that the birth of the homeless should be celebrated in every home." Frederick Buechner, who was a famous preacher in the first half of the 20th century, "For outlandish creatures like us, on our way to Oz for a heart, a brain, and courage, Bethlehem is not the end of our journey, but only the beginning. Not home, but a place through which we must pass if we ever are going to reach home at last." And finally, Henry Van Dyke, "Are you willing to stoop down and consider the needs and desires of the little children? To remember the weaknesses and loneliness of people who are growing old? To stop asking how much your friends love you and ask yourself if you love them enough? To bear in mind the things that other people have to bear in their hearts? To trim your lamp so that it will give more light and less smoke, and to carry it in front so that your shadow will fall behind you? To make a grave for your ugly thoughts and a garden for your kindly feelings with the gate open? Are you willing to do these things for a day? Then you are ready to keep Christmas." Now, thank you. Appreciate your time. If you find value, I'd appreciate you if you'd pass it along. But take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon.